On today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the McFarlane Toys Spawn Classic Comic Covers Series 25 Spawn 8. Based on the artwork from Spawn issue number 95, we got a really neat looking Spawn just kind of standing there. That's all he's doing. He's just literally standing there. Standing dynamic, but just standing there. To see all of McFarlane Toys action figures, you can visit spawn.com. The one thing I really always love are the classic covers. The classic comic covers are always really cool Spawn figures to have. They're just such really nice decorative pieces. Things you can just have out, and they don't really do a whole heck of a lot, but what they do is awesome. On the side, that is the comic, the inspiration for this figure right here on the side there. Turn it around in the back. It says, our 25th series of Spawn action figures takes up where Series 24 left off, interpreting various comic book covers from the rich gallery of Todd McFarlane Productions comic book artwork. Those figures that you can get if you are interested in getting the rest of them, there's Sam and Twitch 2, The Redeemer 2, Hellspawn 2, Creech 2, Spawn 8, Raven Spawn 2. Oh, and also each figure, can you see that down there? It says each figure comes with, what does it say? With mini cover and stand. I couldn't even see that, it was so small. Gotta wipe my eyes here. It's actually late. I don't know if you can tell this. It is, well, you probably can't tell it because the lighting and everything is the same as normal, but it is actually dark. It is late, and Spot's decided to do some reviewing. But needless to say, certainly can't wait to get this opened up. I am going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at Spawn 8 from the Spawn Classic Comic Covers. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. And with the figure, you'll get yourself, like I said, a small mini representation of the comic featuring Spawn. It's cardboard, so unfortunately the back of it is just your regular brown cardboard. Comes with a stand, a little display stand, so that's nice. You can have them just, if you wanted to, propped on the front. You can maybe just have it on the side. Doesn't really matter. You could have it even just like that. Moving that out of the way. You'll get yourself a display base. Now, Spawn is currently on the display base. He does also come with these. Now, if you're wondering what these are, they're not little gas capsules. They're actually pegs. You can take Spawn, take him off the base, for example. And let's have a look at the base first. Get this really neat display base. Now, it looks like there's some connector points on the end, so I'm wondering if this serves to connect to other bases. Maybe it connects to the other figures from the classic covers of this line. To be honest, Spot only picked up this figure from the classic covers, or at least number 25. There is a little lever on the side that you can rotate, and it will spin the disc in the middle of the base. So, of course, when you have Spawn on it, it's going to rotate the figure as well. And we'll show that in a second. But there's all these little holes here. You can take the pegs and just peg them into place. Take the other one. It probably helps to some extent when you're ready to peg him into place. Probably peg it into his feet first, and then of course when you peg him down, it's probably going to be easier to line him up versus putting the pegs down and then, okay, where does Spawn go? Where does Spawn go? You know, it's a lot easier probably just doing it this way. So there's the classic comic covers, little comic cover. There's the base. Let's have a look at Spawn himself. Gotta really love this figure. Again, because it's a classic comic covers version of Spawn, it's not going to be the most articulate, but where it doesn't have the articulation, it certainly makes up for in detail. This is more of a showpiece than anything else. There's Spawn's face, perfectly sculpted. You can see his green eyes. That's Green Spot. his green eyes. You can also see that there's some green going on the side skulls. This is Spawn's newer costume, so a lot of the red is gone, and now in its place is the black. Now, even though he's got his cape draped in the front, and that is a gorgeous looking cape. Look at that. That looks like that came right out of the actual comic. You can actually see there's some burns and tears at the cape itself. It's not just a clean, smooth cape. All these folds, all these creases. Nice, vibrant red as well. There's something I love about this. But underneath this cape, move this out of the way, you can see Spawn is full body. And he's got some real chains coming down from his center skull, right there. Didn't mean to zoom so much into Spawn's crotch, but yeah, it has all these chains that come down from it. A really nice touch. Moving this out of the way, you can see his armor. And his big spiked gauntlet on the one arm there. Little side bracelets on the other arm. Just a really nice display piece. One thing I also like is, if you can see it, they've darkened the red that's behind Spawn in his cape to give it that extra bit of depth. So it's not just Spawn with a red cape, there's actually stuff going on just to kind of give it that illusion of depth. Just rotate him correctly. Now, what you saw, he is clearly pre-posed. One leg is straight out this way, one leg is slightly bent but still straight this way. Aside from the swivel in the legs, swivel in the feet, swivel in the waist, movement in the head, like so, and movement in the arms. That's all you're going to get. It's not a lot, but again, you're buying a figure like this, and I don't even really want to use the word figure. You're buying a piece like this because you're buying it for a display purpose, likely. I mean, this is a gorgeous piece. This is something you want to have on your shelf like so, and you likely probably won't move too much about it. Now, if you want to try to match it to the comic cover here, I'm just going to move this in here. Spawn's arm, I think, moves a little further up. His cape, however, doesn't really so much fold into his hand as if he's grabbing it. It just kind of drapes over his arm, like so. And then his other arm is on the side, just like that. And there you have just a really beautiful piece. Perfectly sculpted, perfectly executed. The coloring is vibrant. You gotta love it. The one thing I don't love, unfortunately, and that's one problem with it being in package maybe as long as it has been, is the tops of his cape. Now, the one cape, as indicated in the picture, is pretty much what it's doing right now. However, the top piece of his cape is supposed to really stick straight up. It's supposed to stick straight up, and then this kind of sticks straight out. But because it's rubbery, and because it's been squished in the packaging as long as it has, it wants to just fold itself over. That's a shame. This won't likely settle out either with time. So I always have the recourse that I could simply heat this and maybe try to manipulate it a bit. Might be able to fix the issue. At least you can justify it because it is a cape. It would make sense that it does that. I also love his shoulder pads, or the shoulder ends of his cape, how it just jets out and it spikes at the top. Again, it just looks like it came out of the comic cover. Now, we're just going to take the pegs here, and we're going to peg one peg. You know, I think of all the aspects to his costume, the one thing I really don't like about Spawn is this big old boot that he's got. It looks neat, but I can't imagine it being very practical. I don't know how easy it would be to run with this big log essentially stuck to his leg. So we're just going to peg that into place. Peg this into place like so. And there you have Spawn on his base. Looking fantastic. Like so. And if you want, you could put the comic panel or the comic cover kind of in the front if you want to have it just displayed like so. A beautiful piece though. A lot of the classic comic covers, the comic book covers, I don't tend to get. I'm really only gearing myself to get these Spawns. I've now got two of these. Well, not two of these, but I've got this one, and then I've got another comic covers of Spawn. The other characters I'm not really super thrilled about getting, but if you really wanted to, I would say pick up the Spawns at least. They're beautiful. They're just absolute perfect display pieces. They're a relatively inexpensive, although in comparison to the figures have plateaued. A lot of the prices have dropped on the Spawn figures themselves, but the one thing that have gone up in price tends to be the classic comic covers, the comic Spawn covers here. Spawns, more importantly, they seem to be going up more so. To find this on eBay, or aftermarket, you're probably expecting to pay anywhere from $20, maybe to about $60, depending on where you're able to get it. Is it worth it though? Absolutely. For any Spawn figure fan, or any Spawn comic panel fan, or really anyone that just enjoys the artwork of Spawn, this is a perfect piece, a beautiful piece to be having on display. If you can find it, again, and you don't mind spending the little extra for it, I would say this is a great piece to have on display, a must pick up. I'm going to give Spawn 8 here, from the classic comic covers 25, I'm going to give him an 8.5. Reiterating points that I made, while he doesn't necessarily have super articulation, he definitely makes up for it in a beautiful sculpt and fantastic paint. Adjust the camera there. Here we go. Today's collectible, today's toy spot. What's going all over the place with this camera? I don't know what's going on with this camera lately. Today, though, we're having a look at Spawn Classic Comic Covers 25. We're having a look today at Spawn 8. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. Certainly stick around. There are more toy spots heading your way, as always. That never changes. But I will see you guys next time.